Africa Today, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nahara Kashur, but first, our headlines. Betty Kamya asks Parliament to set up independent committee to handle reports from IG. Restore confidence of Ugandans in police and judiciary, Democratic Party. ECOWAS delegation visits Mali, seeks assurance on elections. In our sports today, Chadondo Eagles 5 stars in Tebe among 15 football clubs approved to change names. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We start with one of our top stories. Now, the Inspector General of Government, Betty Olive Kamya, has appealed to Parliament to set up an independent committee to handle reports from her office if corruption is to be eliminated from governmental institutions. Now, she made the remarks during an interface with the Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya. We have more on this report. The Inspector General of Government, Betty Olive Kamya, accused Parliament of not playing its part to fight graft, adding that for over 3 years the reports are submitted to the Parliament but have never been handled. Kamya said Uganda scores miserably in the Corruption Perception Index, and the country also loses trillions of shillings annually to corruption in different sectors. Olanya noted that it was important to put a face to corruption and not just statistics. He committed to join IGG for activities of the Anti-Corruption Campaign 2021, noting that corruption in the government institutions remains high. He, however, disagreed with the proposal to create a select committee since it is the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee that has the mandate under the rules of procedure to handle matters concerning the inspectorate. Reporting for TV Africa News, Nahawe Kajura. Moving on, in our top stories, Opposition Democratic Party has called upon the government to restore confidence of Ugandans in the police and judiciary instead of denying suspects of capital offences the right to bail. Now, this follows a cabinet resolution to call for the lifting of the right to bail. Our reporter has more.
Speaking to journalists at their party headquarters in Kampala, the party spokesperson Okolel Opio said it is improper for a suspect to be denied the right to bail, but instead emphasis should be put on fighting corruption among security agencies and the judiciary. On Monday, Cabinet agreed to refuse bail to capital offenders.
There is thus no need to amend the Constitution, but rather to guide on the exercise of the discretion to grant bail. For instance, by taking into account the views of victims of serious crimes before bail is granted. That's one. Two, the Democratic Party does believe that the entire law enforcement and criminal justice system needs reform.
It is upon this that DP has called upon the general public to forego bail application of any offense and instead choose jail.
We should simply not apply for bail. We call upon all of those struggling for democratic change in Uganda to forego bail application and choose jail instead of bail. The president of the Democratic Party, Honorable Norbert Mao, demonstrated this, starting with the walk to work protest of 2011, when he refused to apply for bail.
On the other hand, DP does not agree with the promise of President Yoweri Museveni to increase salaries for only science teachers, leaving out their counterparts in arts, which they say is intended to crash down the education system. Nalgo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. We take a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In our international news today, the husband of Kenyan distance running star Agnes Tirop appeared in court on Monday as a suspect in her killing and was remanded in custody for almost 3 weeks. Our reporter has more.
Ibrahim, commonly known as Emmanuel Rotich, was arrested last week in the coastal town of Mombasa after a dramatic late-night chase. I-10 Chief Magistrate Charles Kutwa said that the suspect will remain in police custody for 20 days to enable police to complete the investigations into the murder and will also be taken for mental assessment. Tirop, 25, was found stabbed to death in their home in I-10, Western Kenya last Wednesday, a killing that shocked the nation and the world of athletics. The double World Championships bronze medalist was considered a rising star in Kenyan athletics. She came fourth in the 5,000 meters at the Tokyo Olympics this year and broke the world women-only record in the 10-kilometer last month. Rotich, said by police to be aged about 41, had been expected to appear in court on Friday, but the hearing was postponed as officials decided where the case against him should be held.
Well, thank you so much. Our reporter more of our international news. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo, chair of the West African Bloc ECOWAS, has told Mali's ruling junta that elections announced for February must go ahead on schedule according to his delegation on Sunday. We have more on this report. Akufo-Addo delivered the message to the country's strongman Kano Assimi Goita during talks in Bamako. Goita is behind both Mali's recent coups, having installed a civilian-led interim government under international pressure after the first one only to remove it in May, later declaring himself interim president. But a senior member of ECOWAS delegation told the media that their message was unambiguous and was said clearly that the elections have to be held on the scheduled dates. An ECOWAS delegation will return to Bamako at the end of October when they hope to receive the assurances they are seeking. Alia Goita, who overthrew the elected president last year, met the Ghanaian leader at Bamako airport, Mali's presidency announced on social media. Ghana currently holds ECOWAS's rotating chair, but Akufo-Addo was accompanied by Nigeria's ex-president Goodluck Jonathan, who is mediating in the Malian crisis, and Jean-Claude Kassi-Brou, the ECOWAS Commission president. Goita pledged to hold elections in February next year, but his government has been slow to prepare for the poll, and junta has suggested the deadline may not be met. The regional group of 15 countries said a list of individuals and organizations would be drawn up who would face targeted sanctions if they delay the return to civilian rule. Moving on, opposition candidate and former Prime Minister Jose Maria Neves won Cape Verde's presidential election on Sunday as his main rival, the ruling party's flag bearer Carlos Veiga, conceded defeat.
Neves, 61, who served as Prime Minister from 2000 to 2016, will inherit the responsibility for stabilizing the Atlantic archipelago nation's tourism-driven economy after the COVID-19 pandemic drove it deep into recession. President Jorge Carlos Fonseca is stepping down after serving the maximum 2 5-year term allowed by the Constitution. Neves had 51.7% of the vote based on official results from 99.4% of polling stations, ahead of Veiga with 42.4%. 5 other candidates all won less than 2% each. Veiga, who served as Prime Minister from 1991 to 2000 and represents Fonseca's center-right movement for democracy, conceded defeat late on Sunday. Neves of the left-wing African Party for Independence of Cape Verde said he wanted to be president who unites, protects and cares. The transfer of power will be the fourth between the MPD and PAICV since independence from Portugal in 1975, consolidating Cape Verde's status as one of Africa's most stable democracies. Neves will have to work with Prime Minister from MPD after the party maintained its parliamentary majority in an April election.
Away from that, people hold a banner during a rally to commemorate the brutal repression of an October 17, 1961 demonstration, now under the orders of Paris Police Chief Maurice Papon. Macron said in a statement released on Saturday that the repression was brutal, violent and bloody. We have more on this report. A tribute march was organized on Sunday in Paris for the 60th anniversary of the bloody police crackdown on a protest by Algerians in the French capital during the final year of their country's independence war with its colonial power. Human rights and anti-racism groups and Algerian associations in France joined in the protest march, calling on authorities to further recognize the French state's responsibilities related to Algeria's independence war and to further open up archives. The commemoration comes after French President Macron acknowledged that crimes committed on October 17, 1961, which authorities have sought to cover up for decades, were inexcusable for the Republic. Protesters on that day had answered a call for a peaceful demonstration by the French branch of the National Liberation Front, which was fighting for Algerian independence, against a discriminatory nighttime curfew targeting Algerians in the Paris region. About 12,000 Algerians were arrested and dozens were killed. Their bodies were thrown into Seine River, according to the statement. Historians say at least 120 protesters died, some shot and some drowned, according to Macron's office. Anti-racism activist Wissam Zelka told the media that crackdown was a symbol of the whole colonial treatment that took place, and it's not just about October 17, 1961. Activists want the massacre to be recognized as a state crime committed by police, the opening of a memorial site, and reparations, amid other demands. Thank you so much, our reporter. We take a quick break. We shall come back with the business news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa The Right Channel. In the business news today, Turkey is committed to boosting trade ties with the entire Africa and plans to hold the Turkey-Africa Business Council meeting soon. Now, President Recep Tayyip made this promise when he visited Angola as part of his three-nation tour of the continent.
Turkey's trade with African countries currently stands at about $25 billion. The Turkish president expressed hope to increase this figure. He said that their trade volume with Angola in the first 8 months of this year was recorded as $132 million and should exert mutual efforts to increase it to $500 million as they had agreed on. The Turkish president made this revelation at a joint press conference with Angolan president in Rwanda on October 18th. The press conference was after the two presidents had attended the Turkey-Angola Business Forum meeting, where the Turkish president addressed business people from the two countries. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said a platform will be created for business people from the two countries to come together and discuss potential investments in the wide range of fields, including transportation, health, agriculture, textiles, and construction. Erdogan will visit Nigeria and Togo after Angola.
Away from business, in our health news today, Uganda will today, October 19th, receive more 700,000 doses of the Sinovac vaccines from the government of China. This is an addition to the 300,000 earlier received from the same government. Take a look at the story. Mr. Emmanuel Ainebiona, the Ministry of Health spokesperson, said that teachers who are waiting for a second jab should not worry anymore. The government in August ring-fenced 300,000 doses of the vaccines which were donated by Chinese government for vaccinating teachers to increase vaccine uptake among them so as to pave way for reopening schools. Dr. Immaculate Mpaire, the deputy manager of Uganda National Expanded Program on Immunization, told reporters earlier that they were expecting more doses of the vaccines in September. She said the vaccines were an additional donation by Chinese government. She added that the Ministry of Health wants to complete the vaccination of priority groups so that they shift the focus to the general population. Dr. Ampire said the second dose of Sinovac will be given 4 weeks after the first dose, unlike the AstraZeneca vaccines where the second shot is administered after 12 weeks. The government has also said they are not allowing mixing of vaccines. President Museveni and his wife Janet, who is the education minister, have vowed not to allow unvaccinated teachers in class when schools reopen. Dr. Misaki Wayengera, the head of scientists advising government on COVID-19, said people who are not fully vaccinated have partially immunity. Well, thank you so much, a reporter. In our sports news today, the Federation of Uganda Football Association Executive Committee approved the change of names for 15 football clubs effective the 2021-2022 season. Now, 8 of the clubs are in the 3rd Division League, 6 are in the 4th Division, and 1 in the FUFA Women Elite League. We have more on this report.
The development was confirmed during the 25th Federation for Uganda Football Association Executive Committee meeting that convened at Sky Beach Hotel in Garuga Katabi Town Council Wakiso District in Buganda Region on 13th October 2021. The Northern and Buganda regions have 4 clubs apiece approved to change names. Eastern and Western regions have 2 clubs each. Kampala Northeast and Kitara all have a single club approved. First Rising Lugazi Football Club changed from Kampala University, Chadondo Eagles converted from Kasenge, Mazima from Katale, and 5 Stars Entebbe evolved from Entebbe Leopards. However, there is a dispute yet to be solved arising from some shareholders of Entebbe Leopards who were not consulted and they intend to go to court. In the Northern region, Ilei converted to Obasanjo Football Club, Okwedo Road to Luala, Peace Together to Northern Star Calvary, and Vision Women to Acholi Queens Women Football Club. Eastern Region's 2 clubs are Dream Killer to Black Fuego and Kakira United to Ginger Northern Football Club. Only the Federation for Uganda Football Association's Executive Committee has the final powers and rights to approve or disapprove the change of names for any football club in Uganda.
Thank you so much for being a loyal audience with more restarted form. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.